Nintendo!
Hey everyone, welcome back with Beano Mac. Today we're gonna we're gonna start our playthrough of Wario Ware Inc. I was originally gonna have it to where I was gonna build up, so I was gonna start this from the beginning, and I was gonna do it to where you guys would see my failed attempts and stuff too, but I don't know, I just kind of figured that'd be a waste of time, so this is just my playthrough of the whole thing. You know, of the whole main mode, I guess you would call it. And so you start with the intro, then we're gonna go to sports, some sci-fi, some weirdness. Then I believe it would be Nintendo. Then it would be, I think, reality, IQ, nature. And then the outro. Maybe I'm missing one of those things, or maybe got something in the wrong order. But I think that's how it goes. But the way we start with 4 hearts, as you can see, 4 is the max. So that's the max amount of hearts you could ever get. Let's say if I lose a heart on this, but then I clear the whole stage, well, my 3 goes up to 4, I get a +1. But once again, that said, if I have all 4 hearts, I don't get a +1, unfortunately, which, you know, fair enough. I mean, it would make the game a little too easy at that point, but this is a very trial and error type of game, and a lot of fun about this series is figuring out what all the mini games are and that sort of stuff, and then later on, once you do figure it out, and it can take a little while, maybe you're also pretty good at it in these type of games, and you'll get it pretty quick. But once you figure out all the mini games, it's about you know, beating records and replaying and doing it faster and faster and faster, getting less and less mistakes and whatnot. But it seems like it's unforgiving, but when you think about it, you could actually fail a mini game or a micro game every single level, and you know, and more, and still have enough to beat the game. So theoretically, you could mess up, I think, 8 or 9 times, and then +2 for the last heart. So I mean, you could mess up about 11 times, I think, or you know, 9 or 10 times throughout a playthrough. And I think there's about like 200, maybe 300 micro games in this game. I can't remember the full number, but there are a lot. But they all fit some sort of theme. It's kind of interesting that the disco guy has the sports theme. You'd think it'd be like a dance and rhythm thing, but I don't know. Maybe they just were gonna have a different character in Jimmy's spot who was gonna be like a jock, or maybe they just couldn't figure out it. They thought maybe like the rhythm stuff just wouldn't work as well. Something like that, I don't know. Later on, we get some really weird themes, like I said, including strange. They don't really give you much character and characterization of these WarioWare characters, though. I get that it's trying to establish Wario as his own series, but I always kind of wish they would have released just Waluigi. They would have threw in there as like a sidekick. But you know, fair enough. You know, it's WarioWare Inc. is kind of Wario's thing, and especially, unfortunately, since it seems as though they tried quite a bit for Wario's platformers, you know, even after the GameCube, and I don't know, it just doesn't seem like it's really worked out sales-wise for Nintendo. Like WarioWare on this system, not a lot of people seem to have liked it. I think there's Wario Land Shake It, and I don't know, I think just as more games came out, unfortunately, it just seems as though Wario's relevance as a platformer kind of slowly died out, whereas, you know, even today, WarioWare Inc., you know, they even had 2 releases on the Switch and stuff like that. I was not a big fan. Honestly, I've only been a fan of this title, and technically the Game Boy Advance one, just because I get you have to kind of innovate eventually and come up with new ideas just to keep the series fresh, but I don't know, man. I mean, it's just, I liked how it was just simple mini games, you know, just thrown at you at breakneck speed sometimes, and the multiplayer was great and stuff like that. But I felt like eventually, you know, like, I don't like, and I haven't tried the newest one, admittedly, but the one that came out early on the Switch. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that one because like each character has a gimmick, and man, when you finally unlock the multiplayer, like, I don't know, it's just not the same. You have to unlock the multiplayer first off, which I thought was a little lame, and then on top of that, yeah, I think the gimmicks for each character just make it way too difficult, in my opinion, to learn what you really have to do and stuff like that. I think it's just a little too chaotic for my terms, and chaos is kind of like the series' expertise and stuff like that. But I don't know. That's just kind of my thought process on the Wario Ware Inc. I think they kind of nailed down the formula perfectly for this first. Well, technically, this is the second title. Also, I think they kind of used the term sci-fi pretty loosely for this one, but like, I mean, I can get it. You know, it's pretty cool. It's a spaceship flying through space or whatever. But like right here, we have ninjas. Like, what? Ninjas existed. What the hell is science? Would they, even if they were fiction, where's the science in that? Plus, what are these things? They're just dudes over a mountain throwing Molotovs at us. How does that have anything to do with science fiction? I don't know. Maybe they just took it in both ways. You know, there's science and then there's fiction. And then you have the Mario things there. I don't know. It's a very strange game, I gotta say. That's a pretty simple mini game, but obviously, if you shoot the wrong thing, then it kind of messes it up. Oh no, there's my first mistake, and that was an easy one too. There we go. But don't worry, as long as we don't mess up again, we'll be able to get our heart back at the end of the level. But you know, you gotta deal with stupid mistakes and move on in the series. I remember as a kid, I always used to lose that a lot because I thought you actually had to be at the end of the screen to blast off. So I just would always hold myself at the, top of the screen, and then I get hit by a moon. Once again, I don't really understand the science fiction aspect of the ninjas, but I feel like the smaller ninja guy is probably like one of the more iconic aspects, like this dude here. But yeah, this is pretty much the whole game right here. It's just do some micro games in a random order till they get. Jesus Christ! What the hell kind of shit was that? That is not how the minigame is supposed to play out, I don't think. But it's just, micro games in order. They play out in a random order. You just learn them until you eventually can pass all the levels, and things get faster, and you go up levels to unlock harder micro games and stuff like that. And it's a lot of fun, trust me. This is probably one of my favorite boss stages too, because they definitely went all out on this one. It's kind of like a game in and of itself, really, or at least it's something I could see them actually, being able to create a game in itself. I think it's actually based off of like a really old game or something like that, but I couldn't tell you what it is. Probably something Nintendo like. What? That should have went in. There we go. Yeah, that's right. Give me the applause. Give me the applause. You know it was good. Smooth. Alright, I guess we were able to get everything. Yeah, I don't know, it's weird, like, when I get the green, that bonus thing, when some things are on screen, it doesn't actually kill everything. It's only, like, that part for some reason, at least in my experience. And this one's just kind of waiting until you can get your shots in. Just takes some time. Ooh, that was a close one, though. Should be almost. Jeez Louise. Okay, come on, this is getting ridiculous. Goodness. There we frickin' go. Alright, so, Sci-Fi's completed. And they always give you this thing in the middle for some reason. But you can interact with it. Now we got Strange with Mona. Now, apparently she's like a high schooler, but she also has like a massive crush on Wario. So there's a lot of wrong with this girl. And that was pretty close. But apparently the whole story of Wario Ware Inc, I guess, is apparently Wario starts his own video game company, and I think all these people are like, I know Mona for sure is like a part of like the company and stuff like that, for the video games and stuff like that, but I don't know, the story is just kind of weird. It just, it's not even nonsensical, it's just done, everything's just so confusing in the way it's presented. Because like even when you get like the story, I think once you beat this mode completely, you get the story cutscenes and stuff like that, and it's just kind of a bunch of nonsense. I don't know how anybody could follow it to make any sense of whatever the hell they're trying to tell you, or what the story is in this. And they got character biographies that help you with it too. But I don't know, like Nintendo says they don't care about story, and I don't know, this game it seems like they really didn't give a crap about it. I think that ghost was supposed to fly up with that blue thing. I don't know, that's the issue with emulators. I mean, they're not perfect. I don't really understand certain aspects of why, like I've never understood why, you know, emulators were not good at certain, why they were not good at certain things. Like they can replicate everything, but like sometimes they can't replicate reflections or screens or blur or anything like that for some reason. So I think it's something where the emulator tries to correct it, is my guess. But I don't know, like I said, I'm not even going to pretend to know what the hell the deal is with these emulators. But I think after this, I'm going to do all of the record-breaking things. You know, like after this, there's an album, and you can check all the minigames, and each minigame has like a certain amount of times you have to beat it. You know, so for like the boss minigames, like this one, you need to just beat it 5 times, and you've completed that minigame. You know, you've conquered it essentially. Which I don't know. I think 5 is a little too easy, like those ones, because all you have to do is literally beat it 3 times. And you can literally, actually, I think, no, you just have to beat it twice, because you can fail. You have 4 lives, just like in this, and so you only have to complete it 5 times. You can literally fail 3 times and have 1 life left, and then just beat the last 2. There you go. I don't know. I'm probably gonna just, I'm not gonna really commentate on those, because it's, there's not really much to say about this series, to be honest, at least for me to say about it, because, you know, this is the only game I've ever played. It's pretty simple, and I don't know, I don't really have too many memories of it. It is a very, ooh, that was close. But it's a pretty simple game. You know, I have played it a lot with friends. I remember one of my best friends, we started playing it and stuff like that. You know, he couldn't grasp the concept. You know, he was like, damn it. But he was like, you know, these aren't even mini games. I'm like, yeah, you're right, they aren't. They're micro games. And, you know, it is when you first start, it is a pretty difficult thing to kind of get down. But once you do get it down, that's where the real fun comes in, and it's a pretty good party game in my opinion. But you know, I think in the later series, you know, at least on the Switch one, I think the chaos is ramped up a little too high for my taste. I'd prefer something like a Brain Age for like a micro games type thing. Plus, I don't know, I'm not entirely sure. There's been a lot of news with Nintendo in the last like few months about emulation and all that sort of stuff, and you know, it's been a long struggle with fans and stuff like that. I'm not really sure about the future of the Nintendo Tuesday projects, just for the fact of that, you know. Honestly, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here. I mean, honestly, I'm not a freaking, I'm not even really a Nintendo YouTuber. I'm not a Prime you know, player on here. You know, I get like 10 views on my freaking Nintendo stuff. But I don't know, I'm not even saying they would actually come after me or anything like that. You know, I'm a very small-time channel in general, but I don't know, man. I mean, I might just kind of play. I've been thinking lately of just playing a few more Nintendo games. You know, probably like my 5 favorites or something like that, and then maybe just kind of putting Nintendo Tuesday on the shelf or something like that, because, you know, I don't want to have it someday soon where like Nintendo somehow figures out a way to be, you know, work with YouTube so that way like any footage of their games is considered copyright or something crazy or stupid like that. And, you know, I don't usually, once again, on Nintendo Tuesday, I don't usually have anything to say on my Nintendo playthroughs. I like to just have the footage play and stuff like that, and that's what I am going to do in the next, you know, videos, like I said. So I'm probably, apparently they don't want you to even have just regular gameplay footage anymore. They want you to have to talk over it like I am doing, or else they'll consider it, you know, copyright or something stupid like that, and it's, goo, that was a close one. And it's just, I don't know, like, I guess it's a Japan thing. But then you think about it, I mean, like, look at Sony. I mean, they're not doing that kind of stuff either. I don't really know of any other kind of companies or anything like that either that kind of do that. And if you, that one's a pretty tough one until you realize, start at the cup and then just go up from there, and that's your pattern. And you have to do it to where, you know, as soon as there's a turn or whatever, you know, go to the next thing and then just keep going up until you get to the top. That's how you figure that one out. That's a very tough one for me. It's a classic Japanese puzzle, but I don't know. It's kind of a downer to just think that Nintendo are kind of just such big assholes. You know, I can get the emulation stuff to a degree, but obviously they're the worst offenders of like, hey, you can't play this game on an emulator, that's piracy. Okay, well, sell it to us. No. You just can't play this game. Buy our, you know, subscribe to our subscription service, and maybe in 5 years you'll be able to play, you know, Wario Ware Inc. on the GameCube. We're not guaranteeing it, we're just saying maybe it is, you know, possible or something stupid like that. You know what I mean? It's just, they're just kind of assholes. And obviously they got those Nintendo ninjas, I guess. You know, fan projects, because it's their IP, and even if they're not making money off of it, and they'll take those down. And sometimes I think I've heard that they've given people like jobs like that, but, you know, because they've proven their technical, that they can, like, you know, make some pretty good, you know, video games just based off of themselves and stuff like that. But man, like, they definitely treat it as if they hate their fans. And, you know, obviously there's the Smash Bros tournaments issues, and I feel, I could be wrong, but it feels like a lot of the issues really came after Iwata passed and Miyamoto took over. I think there was still a lot of weirdness in the company, but that said, it definitely seems like it's gotten worse, especially when you know, the Doug Bowser guy took over the company. But I mean, they are Nintendo. They're pretty hell-bent on pretty much screwing you over for life to set an example of like, hey, we don't want you to emulate these games. Hey, we don't want you to you know, hack into the software, stuff like that, you know, and pretty much screw people over for life just to set an example. It's so lame. And you know, once again, there are definitely a lot of times where I can understand it. You know, I mean, even if it's not always the moral right. That said, if there is something that they think is, you know, they actually absolutely have the legal right to do a lot of certain things that, you know, Nintendo fans, I think, are kind of like, they take for granted. Yeah, that one always confuses me. But I don't know, I mean, most of the time it just seems like it's done in bad taste, and they're just kind of being jerks about things. But that's kind of why I'm thinking it's not even that I don't want to represent, Nintendo, like, playing games for a company that are assholes or anything like that. It's just, I don't know, I guess I'm just a little paranoid about that kind of stuff. And once again, I'm not saying that it's even going to really happen, in which my content's going to be copyright ID and I'm going to get a strike and all this other stuff. It's kind of also, once again, like I mentioned, they've ruined people's lives essentially just to make examples. So, not that they would do that to me, I don't think, as long as I don't do anything crazy. Like make a fan game or something of that sort, you know what I mean? Something that actually gets a lot of big attention, which, that's obviously not going to happen, but, I don't know, it's just, it's kind of one of those things where you don't even really want to mess around with that stuff, so I'm probably just going to honestly I'm going to finish my playthrough with this, and I plan on eventually playing my 3 favorite Fire Emblems, which are Satelius Saga, so Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn, and 3 Houses, and yeah, I might play maybe some more games after that. I mean, I feel like they're just not really coming to my mind, but there's definitely some other games I want to play, and I'll probably in those videos just kind of talk about, my love of the games and history with the series and stuff like that. But I don't know, I also just kind of in a weird way don't have as much excitement for other Nintendo games. Like, I'm not excited to try out any Zeldas or too many Marios or anything like that. I might play Mario Odyssey though, because that was a pretty good time, and I think it's just a very good. It's funny how little they gave us, but it's still just a very fun story to play. Because like, I don't know, the magic of the Switch at the time. I mean, it felt like everything was gold. Smash Bros. That's also probably, I'm going to do some Melee, probably just some basic stuff like a classic mode and All Stars and an adventure mode, and then I'll play some Brawl and some Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and then I'll probably call it quits on the Nintendo YouTube stuff. And I haven't figured it out yet. I might just take a break from it and just kind of make big long playthrough videos of them, and that'll kind of be it. But then again, I don't know, because I'm not sure if people would want to watch like a 10-hour playthrough of freaking Fire Emblem, 3 Houses or something like that. Because I don't know, I'd probably want to play like all the houses and show off the DLC and stuff like that. But we'll see what I end up doing. So if you're actually subscribed for the Nintendo stuff, I mean, I'm going to be playing for quite a bit. Got him. Nothing's more real than eating a banana in space. It kind of bothers me that they take the boss battles back down to the easy mode. Like, if you lose, okay, I think that would make sense, but I don't know. It's just it's weird. I don't really know how you really get up to the actual levels and like the rads and stuff like that. I'm assuming you had to play like through like 10 times and just kind of constantly annihilate and not lose any hearts or something like that. This one is just a very nerve-wracking mini game, or mini game, micro game, whatever the hell you want to call it. Because that laser is thin, and then you let one of these things drop, you lose. But I am going to try and I've actually ordered something to where it'll allow me to hopefully capture footage from my Switch and my PS4 now, so I'll be able to play a little bit more modern games for this channel for once. So not too many, because I'm not a biggest fan of modern gaming. I'm just not. But obviously, I've played quite a bit of Switch games, and Nintendo or not, there's quite a bit that I do want to throw on this channel. I was recommended, jeez, I can't think of the title now. I want to say Double Dragon, but I don't think that's what it is. It's just like a remake of it's like a beat 'em up or whatever that was recommended to me by a fan, and it sounds like it's a pretty good time. I like playing beat ups on this channel, or beat 'em ups. We got it. And then, I'd love to, I played a lot of the Resident Evil games on the PS2 era and the PS1s. And, I'd love to play the remakes of 2, 3. I've never actually beaten the fourth one though, because I was never a big fan of Resident Evil 4, honestly. Like, I thought the standing still and chewing thing, I get it, people love it and say it's great and it builds tension and stuff like that. I actually liked Resident Evil 6 a lot, and that's something I want to play too on this channel. So, even when they remade it, it's a pretty decent time, but it just doesn't give me the same satisfaction as, say, like a Resident Evil 2 or 3 remake, because I love Resident Evil for the zombies, and that's kind of why I like 6, is I got like literally a platinum in that game, and all I would do is just once I beat it, God damn it, I took too much time on that one, but once I ended up beating that game, and I needed the platinum, I think you have to max out all the skills, and it takes a long time to max out those skills. And I would just play on the hardest difficulty, the first couple of levels, Leon's campaign essentially, just because I loved all the zombie stuff like that. Which, you guys aren't going to see me 100%ing Resident Evil 6. Nobody wants to see that. But, just the point that I like to show my fan my love of Resident Evil 6. But I like a lot of the games that nobody likes in the series. I like 3D era Mortal Kombat. I like Resident Evil 6. I like Resident Evil Outbreak. And Outbreak, it has its dedicated fans. But like, I think it could definitely work in a modern setting. I think it's built for that. But if they do make a new Outbreak game instead, I don't think they can really win exactly, because I think if they re-release it and have the online again, I think there's a lot of people that just, and mainstream Resident Evil fans, that just didn't really like the online play in that sense to begin with. They didn't like using those commands. They didn't like how it's separating the scenarios. And a lot of people say it's because you have the AI partners, and fair enough, but I still don't think it would change too much. And scenarios can be completed pretty quickly if you know what you're doing. It's also a very hard game if you don't know what you're doing. But I think it's definitely not looked upon favorably overall in the Resident Evil community as a whole. And I mean, it's my favorite game, so it's too bad. And honestly, there was so much content. So if they remade they made a new Outbreak title though, and on modern consoles, let's say using the Resident Evil 2 remake engine or something like that, I think it could be good. But I mean, it's not gonna, obviously, DLC for all the characters. There's not gonna be a lot of characters. It's probably gonna be like maybe 4 or 5 classes or something like that. I don't think all the characters are even gonna come back. Just mainline characters in that game. There was 8. There's probably gonna be like 6 or something, or there's not going to be enough uniqueness of the characters, because Resident Evil, the PS2 era kind of allowed for not the best graphics. They were always pretty good, especially the Resident Evil games, but it allowed for, I think, the most creativity at that time, because it was at the point where you didn't have the limitations anymore of the 3D stuff, but it was also at a time where like things didn't cost so much and to manufacture video games and stuff like that. And I feel like they could get away with concepts, like having 100 different playable characters as just skins, and having like 10, sometimes not 10, but like 3 different ways to complete a scenario, and like and then obviously in some certain scenarios in Outbreak, you could get like a bunch of different endings. I mean, the hospital one, like depending on what items you got, there's like 5 different endings, and it also depends on who you pick. Then there's also ones that are based, they allowed you to continue the scenario if you miss something, like Underbelly, for example. If you miss a train, then you have to get the key that's conveniently underneath the train that just moves, so you can go and get out another way by walking through the streets. And I think that's kind of like the bad ending, but I could be wrong. It seems like everybody's always oppressed during Cold Comfort, but you get the idea. Like, I just don't think it would be possible to make that kind of game in the modern day. Especially, once again, that was especially that was before DLC was a thing. So, like, if it was made in even the PS3 era, I mean, there would have been probably no way that we would have gotten all that extra content just on the disc and stuff like that. And it's too bad they never had a File 3 for Outbreak, but once again, the sales numbers kind of reflected that I think a lot of people weren't the biggest fan of the game, and I think File 2 was arguably much better than the first one, just in almost every way. Maybe you could argue the scenarios, stuff like that. I won't argue with that, because everybody has their own opinions on the scenarios. There's a lot that I like in the first game, but I don't know. I just don't think it could work out the same. Especially since it kind of built up, an audience already. And Capcom, with their online stuff, they keep trying to go after different audiences rather than the one they have for Outbreak, so. Ooh, we got him. Come on, drop. Ooh, that was so close. I almost just blew it. Alright. I think we got what is that, the golden turd? What the hell? And this one is just easy. You just gotta keep tapping the A button. It's not hard at all. But I like to see Wario's giant hat. Alright, well, there we go, folks. All in one shot. We have successfully completed Wario Ware Inc. At least the, I don't know, main mode, story mode, whatever the hell it's called. And then we got this weird little ending sequence. So I think this is just the credits to show you all the characters. Yeah, like I said, how the hell do you even explain what the hell's going on? It looks like somehow Mona hit a soccer ball with her moped and it went in Wario's house to fix his TV, but that is going to be all for today's episode, though. Like I said, I'm going to start the album playthrough, starting with the intro next episode. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. Check out next week's episode, but above all else, please remember to have a nice day.